first pregnancy yoga online class. So this is just going to be a nice gentle flow for you, using a few different techniques to help you relax, to help you stretch out, alleviate those aches and pains that you might be experiencing. So there's a couple of things that you will need for this session. First of all is a ball. So if you haven't got one of these, you can substitute it with a chair. Most of the things you can do exactly the same sitting on a chair, but if you have got one, please dig it out because they're brilliant for this practice. And apart from that, you just need something to kind of keep you lifted up, so when you're lying on your back, something to prop you up. So I've got a bolster and a couple of blocks underneath just to keep my back lifted up, but you could just use a couple of pillows and a cushion, just anything that's going to be comfortable to support your upper back when you're lying down. So if you haven't got those things to hand now, just pause this video, go and grab them, and then come back and we'll start. So we're going to begin sitting on our balls. So a little note about these balls, so you might hear them called yoga balls or birthing balls or exercise balls. They're all exactly the same thing. It's really important that they're well inflated, that they feel quite firm and bouncy. Don't be afraid to pump them up. Sometimes they can be like quite small and squashy, and actually that's not great for doing your practice. So ideally what you're looking for is that when you're sitting on them, that your hips are just slightly raised above your knees, and there's nice and straight here, or a little bit higher up. So you don't want your hips to be any lower down than your knees. In this kind of position, that's not great for those hips. If you do have any hip issues, so pelvic girdle pain for example, you might benefit from your ball being a little bit more inflated again, so that your hips are a little bit more raised up, and you'll find that that's a bit more comfortable for you. So you want to get yourself in a nice comfortable seated position on the ball. So if you're not used to sitting on one of these, it might take a little while to adjust. You want to have your feet quite wide apart so that you've got a nice comfortable foundation, so that you don't feel like you're rolling about too much. And the great thing about these balls is that it really encourages you to sit up nice and straight. So it's pretty much impossible to slouch on one of these. If you do, you go really wobbly. If you lean back, I wouldn't advise you to do that, you will fall off. So you have to sit upright, forward and open, and that UFO, upright, forward and open, is kind of like the magic combination when it comes to perfect posture for being pregnant. So you want to be sat nice and upright and forward, so rather than reclined back, which is the position you would find yourself in if you were relaxing on the sofa, for example. So sitting upright and forward is going to encourage your baby to face the right way round. So it's when we kind of always leaning back and reclining, we have that kind of lifestyle now, it just happens, but that encourages more sort of back-to-back babies. So sitting upright and forward is just naturally going to use gravity to encourage them to be facing the right way. So definitely sitting in a position like this is always going to help you. Also, we want to be sitting in any positions where our hips are nice and open, as you can see here. We tend to spend a lot of time sitting with our legs crossed, our hips are pretty closed. So sitting on a ball, again, it's pretty impossible to sit with your hips closed. You have to sit in a nice open position. So it naturally encourages you into that perfect position. So we do use these quite a lot in the sessions. So we're going to begin just by taking your hands onto the knees and closing your eyes. If you feel a little bit too wobbly with your eyes closed, you can always just look down to the floor. But we're just going to spend a few minutes now just relaxing, slowing down and switching off. So just bring your attention to your breath. Just focus on the inhale and the exhale. Don't allow your mind to wander too much. Inevitably thoughts will come into the mind as we go through the session. That's only natural. Just acknowledge those thoughts and send them on their way. We're going to stay focused on the present, and the here and now. So in order to do that, you can just keep focusing on your breath every time the mind begins to wander. bring it back. Concentrate on your inhale and your exhale. So just letting yourself breathe naturally now. Don't worry too much about how you're breathing. Just allowing your focus to come inwards, to slow down and to switch off. And we're going to move into a more conscious form of breathing. We call this up breathing, and it's a type of breathing that's really beneficial because it slows you down, it helps you to relax, and it's also a really nice use of breath for when you're in labour, particularly when you're in the early stages of labour, because it works with the muscles in your body in lifting upwards, so that we always want to be working with the body. So it's a form of breathing that encourages you to sort of lift up. So in order to do this, you're going to breathe in through your nose, nice and slowly and deeply, and then breathe out through gently parted lips. So we want the out breath to be a bit longer and slower than the in breath. The reason for this is when you breathe out, that's when your body produces oxytocin, which is that lovely feel-good hormone, that love hormone, and that's what we want to be encouraging. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. So it's a really soft exhale. There's no force behind it. You're not using your diaphragm to push that breath out, because your diaphragm in labour is going to be doing other things. So we don't want to involve that at all. We just want a very gentle. Imagine that you're blowing bubbles maybe. It's that softer breath. So just do a few more of those breaths in your own time. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. It might help you to count just in your mind, the inhale and the exhale, just to ensure that your exhale is a little bit longer than the inhale. We've all got a different length of breath, so I'm not going to tell you what to count to, but if you want to count, then you can do. Inhaling and exhaling. So every time you're breathing out, visualise that sort of lifting up sensation, that you feel weightless. That as the breath leaves the body, it's coming up rather than going down. And that will help, as I say, your body to kind of work in harmony with your breath. So that's the breath that we use through most of the class, and we call it up breathing. So I will remind you every now and then to come back to your up breathing. Okay, so we're going to start off warming up our neck. So we're just going to take some nice neck circles. So drop your chin down to your chest, and then slowly let your left ear come over to your left shoulder. And then we're going to take it across the chest again to the right side. So we're just doing half circles. We're not taking the head all the way around the back. So the key here is to take this really slowly. There's no hurry. You don't want any sudden movements. Just really, really slow and smooth. Feeling that lovely stretch down each side of the neck. And don't worry if you hear or feel any little cracks or pops. It's quite natural. We do hold lots of tension, all those little kind of air bubbles. They're just being released. Okay, so placing your hands onto your knees, we're going to begin to warm up our spine. So we're going to do a seated variation of cat and cow stretch. So as you inhale, we're going to slide the hands in towards you, and those shoulder blades are going to pinch back together. So feeling space being created across the chest, and the shoulder blades are coming together. And if it feels okay for you, you can look upwards. But any discomfort in the neck, you can just keep looking straight ahead. So that's on the inhale. As you exhale, slide the hands back away from you, starting to round those shoulders forward, rounding through the whole of your back, and tuck your chin down to your chest. Inhale again, slide the hands in, pinch the shoulders together, looking up if it feels okay. Exhale to slide those hands forward, really round through the back, bring the chin down. So just keep moving through this with your own breath, so going at your own pace, inhaling and exhaling. And we're starting to feel that spine begin to warm up. So notice as well, as you sat on the ball, that it kind of moves with you to help you in these poses, and that's fine, because it's nice and controlled, you're completely supported, it's not going anywhere. It just helps you to get a little bit more movement. Okay, and when you've finished your next one, just bring yourself back up to sit nice and tall. So we're going to do some hip circles now. So this is the point where we usually make a bit of noise. The ball does a lot of creaking, so don't worry, we'll get that out of the way now. So just start to take those hips around in big circles. So keeping your hands on your knees. And just circling them round, forward and back. And then take them the other way. And stop. And then we're just going to take the ball from side to side, so just gently rolling one way and the other. So our hips are just kind of swaying from side to side as we lift one, and then we lift the other one. So it's only a really small movement, but it's getting into a part of the hip that we don't tend to exercise very often, so it's a really important one to do. Brilliant. Okay, so the next part of the class, we're going to continue using the ball, but we're going to come off it and we're actually going to be behind the ball instead. So take your time getting up and bring yourself to kneel behind your ball. So you want to be up on your knees. If this is at all uncomfortable, you can just use a little pillow or a cushion or blanket or something folded up under your knees just for a bit of extra padding and support. So from here, we're going to take the knees a little bit wider than hip width apart. Place the hands on top of the ball, and we're just gently going to walk that ball out in front of us, coming into a forward fold. Okay, so you're just dropping your chest down below your shoulders, feeling the lengthening through the spine, and just relax your head down. So this is a really lovely stretch for the back, so if you've got any discomfort in any part of your back, this should just help to release that off. It's also a really nice stretch across the shoulders, so we can tend to experience a lot of pain in the upper back and the shoulders just from the excess weight that we're carrying during pregnancy. So this is a really nice one just to help release any tension there in the shoulders. The great thing about using the ball is you can keep it moving, so you can just rock forward and backwards. Maybe move it side to side. Just whatever feels nice for you. And then slowly bring yourself back up using the ball to support you. Okay, we're going to do a little lunge now, again using the ball, kneeling up behind it. So keeping your hands on that ball to keep you nice and steady. Take a step forward with your right foot and place it on the outside of the ball. So take your time getting there again. any pain or discomfort in that back knee, use a little bit of padding to help you. So from here we're going to come down onto the elbows and forearms on the ball. And just allow your hips to sink down now. So really meld those hips down. So if you do have any hip issues diagnosed by your doctor, so pelvic girdle pain for example, we don't want to take those hips as low and as wide. So you might want to just stay kind of like up here until you feel that pinch in your hips. So any sharp pain in the hips, that's a sign that you've gone too far, and to just come back. We don't want to push into any pain at all in pregnancy yoga. We just want that kind of dull ache, that little pinch that tells us that we've reached that point where we can stay. So really just melting those hips down, and then again we can just rock back and forwards into it. So just lifting and lowering the hips. Sometimes you might find it's nice to keep this moving, other times you might enjoy finding the stillness in the pose and just allowing your body to melt into it. Listen to your body and just go with whatever feels right for you. And then when you're ready to come out, we roll the ball back towards us and then use it for support as you step that foot back. And we'll go over to the other side, so stepping forward with the left foot, coming down onto the elbows and forearms, and then just allowing the weight to rock forward. So melt those hips down towards the mat. And then do whatever feels nice for you, keeping it moving or keeping it still. So this is great because it's just opening those hips, it's creating that little bit of extra space within your pelvis. So just a little bit more space for your baby to move around. It's also a really nice one to do during labour because you might find it just gives you that little bit of relief that your body needs. So all of these poses are like a little toolkit for you to use during labour as well as in your yoga sessions, because you won't really know until the time comes what's going to feel nice for you. So it's really good just to have all of these poses there at your disposal. So when you're ready, roll the ball back to you. Bring yourself upright. Perfect. Okay, we're going to get rid of the ball now for the next section of the session. So if you want to just go and take it somewhere where it's not going to come rolling around and interrupt you. Okay, so once you've got rid of the ball, we're going to come into a tabletop position on our hands and knees. So take your time getting there comfortably. As I said before, feel free to use extra padding under your knees, and the same goes for under your wrists as well. You want to be nice and comfortable in this position. So we want to have our wrists underneath our shoulders, but your knees want to be a little bit wider apart than your hips. And we're going to start off by moving through our cat-cow stretch. So this is a different version of what we did before on the ball. But we're effectively warming up the back in the same way, so it's a different option for you to use. So as you inhale, tilt your tailbone up, allow your belly to drop down and look upwards nice and slowly. And as you breathe out, tuck the tailbone under, arch up through the back and relax the head down. Inhale to tilt your tailbone, drop the belly down, lift your gaze. Exhale to tuck the tailbone under, arch up through your back and drop the head down. So just do a few more of those in your own time, moving with your own breath. So any position that's on the hands and knees is a really lovely one for encouraging your baby into an optimum position for birth, and they really like this feeling of just being cradled in a hammock underneath you. So remember, try and keep the movement nice and flowing, as slow as you can. Try not to make any sudden movements in the neck or the back. And really feel into the spine, so just close your eyes and feel every part of your back. See what feels nice See if there are any areas of tightness or tension. Just listen to your body. And then bring it back to a nice neutral position with a flat back. And we'll take some hip circles once again. So we're going to bring those hips all the way round. Coming back. So really think about taking these circles as slowly as you can. You might want to do half a breath. A breath halfway. And then another breath to bring it back. Just to encourage you to take it really slowly. So if you have got any pain in the hips at all, you can just take the circles much smaller. Listen to your body, do what feels nice for you. And then begin to take the circles the other way. Really slowly. And with control. And then come to stillness. So for this next pose, you're going to need either a bolster or a pillow or something just to kind of support your upper body. So get that and put it in front of you. And we're going to bring the big toes together so they're touching and take the knees nice and wide apart. And then just allow your hips to sink back down to your heels. And then bring your bolster or your pillow and just use it to support your head. So we've got lots of space here in between the legs for your belly to fit nicely. And just rest your head down completely. So just release any tension from the neck and the shoulders. Feel your hips sinking down towards your heels. So in child's pose, this is a really nice resting pose. If you can be comfortable in it, then it's a lovely one just to rest, to kind of come back to the breath. So just take a couple more nice, slow, deep breaths here, feeling those hips melting down towards the heels. Feeling your back lengthening out, feeling your belly nice and supported and cradled in between your legs. And then slowly begin to walk the hands back in towards you, bringing yourself back up to sit up nice and tall. So we're moving into a seated position now. If it feels comfortable for you to sit with crossed legs, then do so. But if you feel more comfortable sort of propping yourself up on a cushion, particularly if you've got any hip pain, having those hips raised just a little bit should take the pressure off them. So just get yourself nice and comfortable in whatever seated position works for you. And we're going to do some gentle twists. So it's really important in pregnancy yoga that whenever we twist, we think about lifting up and creating space. So we're twisting through the top part of our back. We're never restricting space in the belly. So always be aware of creating more space rather than restricting it. So we can twist nicely in this way. So if you want to take your left hand and just place it on the floor, just kind of like behind you and to the side. Inhale and sit yourself up really nice and tall. And as you breathe out, just use your left shoulder to lead backwards as you start to twist round. Now you can place your right hand on your left knee just to help you twist if it feels okay. But if you feel like you're restricting any space in your belly at all, then just don't use that hand, just keep it on the other knee. The important thing is that you can feel a sense of opening up across the chest, leading back with this left shoulder. So we want to create space here so that you can breathe into that space. And if it feels okay, you can look back over your shoulder. Just enjoying that twist all the way down the spine. Wringing out any tension. And then exhale to come back. And we'll go to the other side. So the right hand comes behind you. Use it to keep you sitting upright, nice and tall. As you breathe out, slowly twist round with the option of having the hand on either knee, whichever feels most comfortable for you. Again, thinking about creating this space across the chest and in the abdomen, and looking back over your shoulder if it feels okay to do so. Keep yourself sitting up nice and tall, don't allow yourself to slump down. Breathing deeply. And slowly bring it back round to centre. Now taking the hands to the mat beside you. We're going to inhale and breathe the right arm up. And over into a little side bend. And then bring it back. And swap sides. Taking it over to the other side. So just alternate. Gently moving from side to side, feeling that space that you're creating in between those ribs. So real stretch all the way down the side of the body. Now we're not trying to lean over as far as we can. Instead, imagine that your fingertips are lifting up and you're just creating a lovely stretch. You're creating space. That's all we're doing. So just keep moving with your breath, taking it slowly from left to right. And then gently bring the arms down. And we're going to take the legs out to the side now. So just take them as wide as is comfortable for you. Again, any pelvic pain, any hip pain, don't take your legs quite so wide apart. Just take them to where feels comfortable for you. So just take a moment to wiggle those hips, get yourself feeling nice and comfy. And then bring your fingertips down to the mat in front of you. Inhale to lengthen the spine, sitting up nice and tall. And exhale, we're just going to come forward ever so slightly. So you should be feeling a pinch in the outside of your hips. That's all at the moment. You might be feeling a bit of a stretch down the inside and the back of the legs, and that's fine too. So we're just going forward ever so slightly. Take a moment now to come back to that breathing. So remember, we breathe in through the nose nice and slowly. And we breathe out through the mouth, through those gently parted lips. Breathing in and breathing out. Every time you exhale, just feel as if everything is just kind of melting away and softening. Send that breath into your hips, encourage them to relax and release. And you might find that you can just melt forward a tiny bit more with every out breath. Breathing in and out. And then as you inhale, walk the hands back in. Sit yourself up nice and tall. We're going to bend our right knee now, and we're going to bring that foot in towards us. So you want to have the sole of your foot just gently resting against the inside of your left leg. Take a moment again just to adjust yourself so you feel comfortable sitting nice and upright. And then we're going to place the left hand just underneath your bump, just cradling your baby. And inhale into that lovely side stretch once more. But we're not moving this time, we're going to hold it still. So use this left elbow to support you. And really reach up and over with that right arm. So if it feels okay on your neck, you can look up towards the hand. But if not, you can just keep looking down or looking straight ahead. Really create that space in the side of the body. And then exhale it down. And we're going to keep the legs where they are, but we're going to swap the arms over now. So the right hand comes under your bump to support, and the left arm comes up and over. Again, just holding it still. Really reaching through those left fingertips. Stretching out. And then bring it back. Swap sides. So straighten out that right leg once again. And bring the left leg in. So you might find that you need to use your arms to bring those legs in, and that's fine. Just use any support that you can. Sit yourself up nice and tall. Cradle your belly with your right hand. Left arm comes up and over into that lovely stretch, and hold it there for a couple of breaths. So try to use this arm to keep you upright. So we don't want to be slumping down, because remember, we want to be creating space in the front of the body as much as we can. Exhale to bring the arm down and swap sides. Taking the right arm up and over. Looking upwards if it feels okay on the neck. Just really reaching, lengthening and creating space. And bring it down. Straighten out that back once more. Okay, so we're going to come to lie on our back for the final part of the class. So this is where you need to take some time to set yourself up with that support for your upper back. So I'm going to be using a bolster and a couple of yoga blocks, but you can use a couple of cushions and a pillow, just anything that you can use that will support your weight of your back to keep your heart lifted up. So take your time getting those props ready. Get yourself into a comfortable position and feel free to move at any point if it's not comfortable for you. And then just keeping the knees bent, you're going to lower yourself slowly down to lie back. So just adjust your hips so that the lower back feels nice and comfortable. And just rest your hands down on the floor beside you. So this is a lovely position to be in because it really encourages your shoulders just to melt back and open up. So you've created so much space in the front of your body. Your baby's got loads of space there to move around. And you've also got plenty of space to breathe into as well. And I know space can be in short supply in your lungs when you get a little bit further along. So we're going to walk the feet in a little bit closer to the hips here. And we want them to be about hip width apart. Now turn your hands so that the palms are facing down. And we're just going to gently begin to lift the hips and lower them, moving with the breath. So at first we're only going to make it a really tiny movement. So just tilting your pelvis and starting to lift and then lower. So as you inhale, gently lift up. And as you exhale, gently lower down. So just keep moving with your breath. Lifting and lowering. Maybe starting to take the hips a little bit higher. But nothing too much. Just keep breathing slowly. Try to keep your knees as still as you can, just facing forward. So this is really nice for your lower back because it just keeps that spine moving vertebra by vertebra. But it's also lovely in creating a little bit of space in the pelvis. Just allowing your baby a little bit of space to move around. So just do a few more of these lifts and lowers, moving with your breath. And then just relax those hips down. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees open out like the pages of a book. And just allow them to rest down. So whatever's most comfy for you, you can have your feet a little bit further away from the hips or you can have them a little bit closer in. So just see what feels nice and then just allow those knees just to open up, and gravity is just gently opening your hips and creating space there. You don't have to do anything at all. I'm going to take one hand and place it on your bump and the other hand and place it on your chest. And take the time now to bring your attention back to your breath. So feel your chest and your belly rise as you breathe in, and feel them both gently fall as you breathe out. So bringing the focus to the breath once more, it will just allow you to slow down. Give yourself permission now to just completely let go. Relaxing every part of your body. Visualize that every time you breathe in, you're sending that breath down to your baby, providing them with everything they need to grow strong and healthy. They're completely safe and supported and very loved. So keep breathing deeply, sending that breath down to your baby. And take a moment now to enjoy the connection that you feel between them and yourself. And then just allow the hands to drop down by the sides with the palms facing up. And completely relax yourself now. So feel your shoulders opening up and spreading wide beneath you. Close your eyes if you haven't already done so. Completely surrender into the pose. Now as you lie here, feel each part of your body in turn beginning to relax, soften and become heavy. Beginning at the crown of your head, this sensation of calm and relaxation is going to really slowly travel all the way down your body, relaxing everything as it goes. It travels down your forehead, softening all of the muscles in the face as you relax your cheeks, your mouth, your jaw, relaxing your throat and your neck. The relaxation travels down to your shoulders. They feel heavy and relaxed. It travels all the way down your arms, past your elbows, your wrists, all the way down to the tips of your fingers, feeling completely relaxed. Relaxes your chest and your belly, and in turn your baby is lovely and calm and relaxed as well. Your spine relaxes all the way down to the bottom of your back. Your hips relax, and the relaxation begins to travel down your lower body now, down your legs, past your knees, all the way to your ankles, legs feeling heavy, completely relaxed. Your ankles relax, your feet relax. Your whole body is now totally calm and relaxed. So give yourself a few more moments here in this deep state of relaxation, allowing yourself to be still and to let go. And then gradually begin to bring your awareness back. Just beginning to wriggle your fingers and your toes. And then gently place your hands on the outside of your legs and use them to help bring the knees back together. Nice and slowly. Be gentle on those hips. And when you're ready, bring yourself up to a seated position, taking your time to get there. And we'll finish with a final deep breath in. As you inhale, take your arms all the way up and over your head. Bring the palms together and exhale them down to your heart center. Just drop your chin to your chest and bow down to honor your practice and send love to your baby. Namaste.